I think one of the hardest things about being a mom, there's a lot, but when bedtime takes so long and all you're wanting is like a little bit of peace and quiet, but by the time you get multiple children to bed or even just one child, you're like so exhausted that you're like, I might as well just go to bed. There may be a child that comes through the door. It could happen, but fingers crossed I can have a moment in peace to talk to somebody out there, because this message is so important. And I love to just intuitively think about the message that I want to talk about. So this just landed in me today and I was like, okay, this is the message. So fear has two meanings. And the first one is a little bit different than maybe what you've heard, but it needs to be said. So the first one is freak out and eventually you run away, right? Or you face everything and you rise. So you get to choose. Are you going to freak out and run away? Or are you going to face it and rise? And they create two different, extremely different realities. And it is your choice. And it is not always easy. And also, you can absolutely freak out. It is normal to freak out, depending on what's happening. And the goal, though, is that you don't run away. That is a pattern that I see. I have seen it in myself. I have seen it in other people. Also very normal, right? It is a trauma response. If something is too hard, if it is too scary, if it's taking longer, if it's frustrating, if it's overwhelming, right? Name so many things. It makes perfect sense why we would run away. It is extremely justified. And there are so many situations where it does make sense to run away, to walk away, right? Whatever it may be. And also, there are so many situations where it's like, if we just faced it head on and rose, would it be so magical? Because when we're truly not meant to run away, we're gonna learn the lesson again and again and again until we finally learn it. So we're gonna put the things off the table that you should run away from. Like if there is a bear chasing you, I don't want you to be like, but Nellie told me to face it and I would rise. So we're just gonna have the understanding that when you are in true danger, that is why we have fear. When you're in true danger, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, or whatever it may be, there are times where you should freak out and run away. And that is to protect you. And that's what's tricky, is there are also a lot of situations where you're not technically in danger, but your brain is freaking out as if a bear is chasing you. But really, it's either just harder than we thought, it's taking longer, we are facing a lot of rejection or frustration or, things that are uncomfortable. And so when we feel those feelings, it feels like a bear is chasing us. And so then when we feel that way and our brain is like, oh, a bear, right? Air quotes, a bear is chasing us. You get yourself out of there, right? You cancel your online software. You cancel, your webinar. You cancel whatever was going for you. Even health and fitness. Cancel that, right? And so when your brain thinks a bear is chasing you, it will respond accordingly. And so your brain only knows what you tell it. And so it's so important that we actually face things head on and rise, because then you're going to be so proud of yourself. The discomfort is actually pretty short when you face it. We actually experience more discomfort the more times we have to learn a lesson, right? Think about it as if you yo-yo diet, right? And you're trying to lose the same 10 pounds over and over and over and over again. You spend more time, more money, more energy yo-yo dieting because you're like, you lose weight and then you run away, right? You lose weight and then you run away. You lose weight and you run away. And when I say run away, I'm like talking about like you stop doing the habits that you know are truly benefiting you. If you are like doing a savings challenge and you're doing so well, but then you stop saving, right? And then you start spending more than you're making, in a way that's you know, freaking out, even if it's subconsciously, and then eventually you run away from the habit, and then we're frustrated that like we're relearning a pattern again, and then we're like back at square one. And so you can truly create such a wealthy life when you decide, I'm going to face this, whatever it is. So this is a really practical exercise that you can do. I want you to write down all the things right now that you are fearful of and get really honest with yourself. Now, some of those things will probably take off. Maybe you're afraid of heights. That is an okay thing. Like, can you face your fear of heights? For sure. But if you never faced your fear of heights in your whole life, you could still create your happiest, healthiest, wealthiest life, right? If you have a fear of spiders, if you never face your fear with spiders, you're probably going to be okay, right? Now, can there be power in facing your fear around heights or spiders or whatever it may be? For sure. But for this exercise, I want you to take those types of things and just put them off to the side. So maybe you're afraid to post on social media. Maybe you're afraid to build your own membership. Maybe you're afraid to message people, like DM people. Maybe you're afraid to speak on stage. So put some things on the list and keep them there that you're like, when I face these things, I could truly create a wealthy, healthy, happy life. Like, you have a hunch, right? Like, you have a hunch that if you faced your fear of public speaking, if you faced your fear of reaching out to people in the DMs or creating a membership or, you know, learning more about finances or, you know, whatever it may be. Like, maybe you're so afraid to start a online business because you don't want to fail, right? Like, it can be as big as that or as small as like putting on makeup because you're like, I don't know how to do it, right? Or, you know, whatever it may be. I want you to really get honest with yourself of like all of the fears and keep the ones on the list that you're like, when I face these, I could create a super happy, healthy, wealthy life. And there's your to-do list. There it is, right in front of you. When we stop avoiding the very things, the activities, the habits, right? And we get so honest with ourselves and one by one slowly go through the list, you now have the answers. Like, we're searching for the answers everywhere, but they're literally right in front of us. And when you do this exercise, they will truly be right in front of you. Even in just a few days of doing my step count goal, I have learned so much about myself. I am so much more in tune with being intentional, and I don't want to say pushing myself, but, you know, if I couldn't get a hardcore workout in before this month, I just didn't really do anything. And so what I'm learning in just a few days, I'm looking at my Apple Watch, what I'm learning in just a few days is like, well, 10,000 steps a day is better than no steps, right? And I love a goal that is so time bound and so urgent because my brain truly needs that. If it's too far away, I will take that long. I just know that about myself. And so I'm seeing some correlations in my business and in my health that when I like lean into them and face them, I'm going to keep rising. Like, and all the boats in the harbor rise when there's more and more like water, right? Like, all the boats in the harbor rise. So when you think about all the boats being actually aspects of your life and your business, it's huge. Like I've been getting automations in place. I've been like really reverse engineering, like what else can my team do to help bring in more revenue? So it's not just on me. And then I'm coming to our team meeting prepared and getting like very specific, because I don't want anyone doing busy work. Like I don't want to be doing busy work, and I don't want them doing busy work, right? And like there's always conversations that I get to have with clients and team members and my significant other. Like I have just learned that it's so much better to face it head on. Whatever it may be, big or small, I think you can regulate yourself during the process, but it is so much easier, truly, it is so much easier to face it head on, whatever it is, versus avoiding it. And I hear things like all the time, well, I don't like confrontation. I don't like things to be hard. I don't like them to be difficult. And there's solutions around all of that. Anytime I'm having an uncomfortable conversation with myself or somebody else, I lean into love. Like even my kids, like I lean into love as much as I possibly can. I can be firm, but I can be loving. Like I never want to be the person that's like yelling at somebody. So I can have uncomfortable conversations and still be very kind and loving and direct, and so much more powerful than avoiding the conversation and then frustrated about something, right? And so it's just so powerful when we can face it head on. And you don't have to do this all at once. I would highly recommend you not to do it all at once, and to really focus on one thing at a time. And that way your body and your brain have time to regulate, so you're not like completely rattling your nervous system. But the more you do it, the more you'll realize, wow, I just went up a level. I just went up another level. I just went up another level. Hanging on to heavy energy, like avoiding, like running away, it does weigh on us. We want to finish things as humans. We want to progress as humans. We want to feel good as humans. And so how we can do that is facing everything and rising. Like the rising is what people want. And so it's like the be, do, have, right? In order to have the success, the rising, right? The leveling up, you've got to face it. You've got to face it. And this is where mentors come into place. This is where accountability comes into place. This is where tools and resources and community and collaboration make it so much easier to face everything, because then you're not trying to do it alone. So if I can help in any way, let me know. I've spent thousands and thousands of hours on the phone, on Zoom, in person with amazing women, and helping them face things head on and rising in the process. And I promise you, along with habits, this is how you do it. Like this is how you create your wealthiest, healthiest, happiest life, is facing everything, building in habits, and having fun doing it. It's like it's a surprise. There you go. There it is on a silver platter. That's how you do it. And you can have your own spin on it. You can be messy in the process. You can kick and scream and cuss if you need to. At times, I am kicking and screaming and cussing. Like there was a few days ago that my step count, I was procrastinating. I will not beat around the bush. I was not on top of my numbers and checking in, and it was like in the 11th hour, and I had quite a bit of steps to do, and I was walking around my living room and rolling my eyes at myself, and I was like, I'm fucking getting this done. Like I am not falling off the bandwagon a couple days in. Like I am fucking doing this. And I kept walking around, checking my Apple Watch, walking around, and I just like kept rolling my eyes as I was moving my body. Like I was so annoyed with myself, and like I was laughing in the process. So I think it's okay to be annoyed with yourself. I've been really striving not to shame myself and beat myself up. But sometimes, see, I told you, hi, party crashed. Sometimes I'm going to get annoyed with myself. Like, you know, if anyone's going to get annoyed with me, it's better to be me than someone else. So I say that because we're all human. So it's focusing on what's most important and facing that, right? Facing your home and decluttering it, facing your health and fitness, facing your significant other, facing your finances, facing your automation in your business, content creation, getting so effing good at sales and nurturing and finances in your business. Like, imagine if you faced everything in your life in your business, not all at once, but like over a year. You would transform your whole entire life and your whole entire business. And you know I'm right. You know I'm right. And this is where I come in. This is where I come in. Imagine if week after week you were like facing a different thing each week. 52 things, right? Or maybe some things carried over to multiple weeks. But this is the power in accountability. This is the power in facing things and rising. And I would love to help you in any way that I can. So think about like that first thing that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to face this. And then let me know what that is in the DMs. Okay. I love you.